UFC is different because in different organizations, like I was popular in Asia and I would get recognized when I went on the streets and whatnot, you know. But then the UFC, like especially in Vegas on a fight week, it's just a little different, or New York on a fight week, it's just a little bit different with the amount of, swarming. Or I don't remember, there was one fight I went to in Chicago that was totally crazy, but no, it was fun. I think we always talk about like I got popular but not popular enough where it's miserable. Where
Yeah,
you
it gets
can't go
bad.
anywhere and you get swarmed. Like, taking a handful of pictures when you're on the street is like, that's fun, right?
That's not a big deal.
It's
Yeah,
not a
no.
big deal. It's
The
nice. It's
only thing
fun.
that
Yeah.
the only thing that Selena didn't like was being involved in the build. It was like, leave the women out
Yeah.
of this. Like
Yeah.
everybody always felt like that. Like just leave everybody out of this shit. This shit between y'all. Like it's
Yeah.
between y'all. Like nobody wants to be involved in all of this like fight promotion and
Mm-hmm.
everything else that we got going on.
Yeah. So
But
back to Sean Strickland stuff is like, dude, listen, Sean, you're a man. We all understand men urges, right? It's this part of being a man. But you don't got to go on a podcast that millions of people
women
are
have those urges too. I
not
mean,
as men, not as
dude, you're
frequently.
so
Not as
crazy. You're
frequently.
so crazy if you believe that. All right, last thing, Ben, before we go. Chael Sonnen said Khabib's gonna fight Leon Edwards at UFC 300. Any truth to that? You think?
Khabib, just text
I'm
him and
just
ask
asking
him.
you. I'm not asking. I'm not asking, bro. Do you believe that Khabib comes back and fights Leon Edwards at
My
UFC
general
300?
my general feeling would be no. I mean, he did retire young. He probably still has some good fighting years in him. Um, but he seems to not have the urge to be in the public spotlight or
At
do that
all?
type of thing at all. So that would lead me to believe the answer is no. But you got the real answer, so I think you just need to tell us.
You know what told me a lot about the Khabib situation and how he's like shying away from this life as
Yeah.
much was in Abu Dhabi when Islam fought. He didn't even go. He didn't even come to
Mm,
the arena,
yeah.
bro. He just was like, tonight is about Islam.
Yes.
And a lot of times when you have a guy like Khabib, because dude, Khabib has gotten to the point now that he's one of those guys like he's like, dude, no bullshit. He's like fucking Messi and all them other dudes. Like when he goes out publicly, it's crazy the level of attention and stardom that this man has. So he tends to overshadow people when you're around him. And
Yeah.
he didn't even go in Abu Dhabi because a lot of times it will turn into Coach Khabib, and he's like trying to step
Yeah.
away to make sure he's not taking anything away from the guys that are
Yeah.
inside the octagon. I don't imagine he would. I mean, I haven't really spoken to him lately, so I don't imagine that he would come back because, dude, we did a top 30 UFC fighters of all time.
Yeah.
Khabib told us he turned down $40 million. He
For
said
what?
$40 million. That dude said $40 million, bro, to come
40
back.
Oh, to fight anybody or to fight a
To
specific
fight in the
person.
UFC. I don't know how many fights he was meaning. I don't know what he meant. But he just said it. He goes, I turned away $40 million, brother. I'm done. I don't
Yeah.
know what would prompt him to come back if he was turning that type of money away 2 years ago.
Yeah.
But if he did now, if he did, they just announced Yao Shannon and Zhang Wei Li. If
Yep.
he did, now UFC 300 starts to feel like that mega event that we all expect. Now, let me ask you this one, though.
Yes.
He is probably the most likely, though, of the people that retired. Because you know, every time somebody comes back, right? So Brock Lesnar headline 100, Brock Lesnar headline 200. I don't care that Misha Tate and Amanda Nunes walk last. Brock Lesnar headlined that fight card.
Yes.
That was the marquee attraction. Fast forward 7 years now,
Yep.
8 years almost. He's too old not a headline. Ronda
Who,
Rousey does
Brock?
not seem to have any desire to fight again.
Yep.
Khabib seems like the most reasonable or closest choice of someone that could come back and make that impact.
Yeah. No, honestly, I'm sure he's still great. I'm sure he'd still do a really, really good job. I mean, like, I don't hate Leon versus Bilal though. I've been advocating for
As a
that.
headliner, though, Ben, the headline UFC 300,
Um, Yeah, I don't
Think
know.
about
Maybe
this.
not. Yeah,
Think,
'cause I understand what you're saying. Cormier versus Lesnar. How about
no,
that
no.
one?
Think about this one, dude. I'm so old. But think
You're
about
not
this,
even
Ben.
that old. Stop.
Ben, think about this. UFC 100 had Brock versus Frank Mir. It had George St. Pierre versus
Yeah.
Thiago Alves and so many other great fights. UFC 200 had me versus Jones scheduled, Nunes versus Tate scheduled, Lesnar versus Mark Hunt, and Jose Aldo versus Frankie Edgar for the interim championship. Those feel bigger than anything else we're going to see for a long time. How does the UFC make UFC 300 feel that way when it doesn't seem like there are stars at that level, especially when you have so many people already booked? You got
Yeah.
O'Malley booked. You got O'Malley booked. You got the featherweight champ booked, Volkanovski. Adesanya said he's on a hiatus. Jones is hurt. So many people are booked. Islam is injured. So many people are booked or can't fight. How does the UFC make 300 feel that way? I mean, do they really go to Khabib and maybe offer him $50 million? I mean, what do you do?
Yeah. Yeah, him or George St. Pierre.
You
I
think
don't know
St.
if
Pierre
he's
can still
available.
fight?
Probably. He looks good. I bet he can still fight. He's not that old. Was he like 42, maybe? 43?
Maybe 42 years old. I don't
Why
know.
not you versus Brock Lesnar? Come on, baby. You want to get in shape one more
Brock
time.
Lesnar's like 50, bro. Brock
And
Lesnar,
good. Easier
Brock
for you
Lesnar,
then.
Brock Lesnar is in the WWE and doing his thing, man. He's fine. He actually doesn't even
So you're
really do
saying
the
he's too
WWE,
easy. Okay. Get you versus Gable Stevenson.
bro. Come on. I can't fight these young dudes. I can't fight, Ben. Ben, I'm a terrible fighter. I told you I tried to fight the other day, and every time I threw a
Who'd you
kick, I
try to
fell
fight?
down. I was sparring, and every time I threw a kick, I fell down. I would fall on the ground, bro. My legs are hurting
Stop.
so bad. Seriously, my legs are hurting so bad. Now, am I still pretty good? Yeah, I'm pretty good. My hands are still pretty fast.
Uh-huh.
But dude, after one day of training, my body hurt worse than anything I've felt in a long time. So,
Okay, what about Pereira versus Espinal? We talked about that. That'd be
oh,
fun.
oh, oh,
I'm in.
man, that's a good one.
Yeah.
That would help. That would help. I don't know if they would do that. I mean, Pereira wants Jamal Hill, but Pereira also wants Jamal Hill because he doesn't want to fight Ankalaev. I mean, Ankalaev can wrestle too. Like,
That's
so if
true.
I'm being honest, Pereira's smart. He's very smart.
Yes.
Wouldn't seem to be a great matchup for him. All right, Ben, I'm gonna let you go, man. So to recap, nobody's really surprised by the text messages that Dana was talking about John Jones privately, because in private text messages, you kind of say things that might not always seem appropriate. 2, Sean Strickland's the protagonist, guys, as we head into UFC 297 this weekend. Ben has coined him the good guy. Would have never thought that would be the case. Even after listening to him go off with Theo Vaughn, he still coins him the good guy. That's how bad he thinks Dricus Du Plessis is.
Dricus Du Plessis is going to bring a metal detector to UFC 297.
Oh, yeah. And Dricus is going to have a metal detector. And lastly,
that's great.
Khabib, Danny Rubenstein, get the metal detector. Get the metal detector for Dricus. And lastly, we don't know if Khabib's fighting. UFC 300 needs a main marquee attraction, and I don't know if it's going to be the Eagle.